Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Wednesday, February 15th, 2023 Concord Board of Trustee meeting. Would you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, can I have a roll call, please, Mr. Technic?
Yes.
Mrs. Lucci,
Present.
Mr. Dondorfer,
Present.
Mr. McIntosh.
Present. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the February 1st, 2023 regular trustee meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the February 1st, 2023 regular trustees meeting minutes.
And I will second.
Any discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
3 ayes. Tonight we have the Concord Township Owners Rep, Mr. Roger Riachi, here to give us an update from RFC Contracting, to give us an update on the progress of Fire Station 1 as we are starting to get a little close in the timeline. So I'm going to slide him in to give this report to the board before we get into the elected officials report.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
So basically, we want to give you an update on the project. As everybody knows, we've had all kind of problems with deliveries and with material getting back ordered, not showing up on time. So the project is behind schedule. We are working with the contractor on a weekly basis to get that schedule updated and to keep moving materials as quickly as we can. One of the examples, that we have an issue with is the generator for the project that's been ordered over a year ago or close to a year ago, and then they had a delivery date that got pushed twice. So some of the manufacturers are doing these kind of things. We're seeing this across the board. This is not just for your project. We're experiencing it across the board with construction materials. So what we're going to do here within the next few weeks, we're going to have an updated schedule with a new completion date that we will come back and share with the trustees and the township, and we'll have that new date formalized, and then we can update you with that date at that point in time. Meanwhile, like I said, we're working with the design team as well as Andy and the contractor on pushing as much as we can. We've made a few changes to some materials that were readily available. Didn't affect the quality of the work, didn't affect the quality of the material, just a different manufacturer that was able to provide the product a little quicker to the project. We're obviously also working with the chief on some of the furniture items. I know he's been talking to some furniture companies about some of that, what they're gonna reuse, what they're gonna keep, what they're gonna buy new. So those are in process as well. And that's pretty much the update that we have. I'll take any questions.
Go.
I think we expect, this big project with the demands and some of the challenges out there, not just with us, but with, in the area. I think we kind of expect some of this.
I mean, it is. It's across the board. Like I said, this is not just your project only. I mean, we're experiencing that everywhere across the construction industry. Some things have gotten much better, but when you get into some specialty items, which we have several of them in the fire station, those are the items that are typically we're experiencing the most delays with. But I think we're at a point now where we've identified them. The contractor has done a pretty good job identifying those. They're sharing those with us. We're gonna, sit down and get the project updated and have a firm date as to when the new completion is gonna be.
Okay.
Well, we appreciate your diligence on this project as the owner's rep and representing the township and keeping everything's in line and moving forward with all the challenges that we've had. So we appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. I don't
Thank
think we
you.
have any other questions. Thank you for
Appreciate
your
your
hard
time.
work.
Thank you.
Your hard work, right?
Okay, moving into our elected officials report. Fiscal Officer, Mr. Technic.
Thank you, Mr. McIntosh. I have a couple items to report on. Get this thing closer here. A couple of things to report on. this evening. First of all, it's been a very busy few weeks in the fiscal office. Cindy Sadler has been a rock star, assisting with closing the year 2022 and performing her regular duties. Because of Cindy's above-board efforts, the fiscal office was able to upload the 2022 financials via the Hinkle system, which is the system the Auditor of State uses for the Auditor of State year-end reports. Another item, I would like the trustees to provide a favorable vote for the January 23rd financials. We completed those last week. And finally, today we received the first half property tax advance from the Cuyahoga County Auditor's Office. Lake, oh, I'm sorry. Lake County, that's
Old habits.
Yeah.
that's just,
I'm like, oh, they're giving us money, nice.
yeah, maybe a lot slower than Lake County. Anyways, almost 1.5 million is 1,495,000. A little bit higher than last year. I think we're up about 300,000 from last year's first advance. Good. So that was nice to see.
Good.
And this concludes my report.
Thank you. Trustees, Mrs. Lucci.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Not a whole lot to report. I did notice, though, on the way here that it was actually light out. So I'm excited that the days are getting longer, and we had beautiful weather today. Hope everyone had a nice Valentine's Day yesterday. Just a few things. I spoke with a few residents, one who had concerns with some development around where they live, some new development and some easement issues. I had another discussion with a resident regarding noise complaints in a business in our area. Other than that, I was happy to hear from our owner's rep regarding how things are going with the fire station. It's exciting to see that it is coming along, and before long we will have our completed project. Other than that, I think that will conclude my report.
Thank you, Mrs. Lucci. Mr. Dondorfer.
Thank you, Mr. McIntosh. First off, I'd like to thank Tim Brown in the Service Department. I had a resident that reached out last meeting, had a concern on Williams Road, and Tim worked with the resident and rectified that problem, so thank you to him and his department. Did get a couple calls from some residents in regards to something I mentioned in an earlier meeting regarding the General Health District's requirement regarding annual inspections of the septic system. I know Mr. Rose is working on closing that loop, so we can get back to those residents that called that had some clarification on that. Spoke with another resident briefly regarding, he's not only a resident, but a landlord within Concord Township, had some concerns or wanted to know some of the requirements needed for pulling a building permit. So we directed him to the Lake County Building Department, and also working with our Heather in regards to eventually getting him an occupancy permit once the proper permits are pulled. I want to thank you, Mr. McIntosh, for your nice presentation at the Commissioners' meeting regarding the local government share presentation. It's something that has been well overdue, and I think it will definitely needs to be revisited as far as how that funding is appropriated within the county. So thank you for that presentation. It was very good. I did also watch the budget hearings also that the sheriff presented, as well as the prosecutor's office, to the Board of Commissioners the other day. I think eventually we'll have some type of impact on our safety services within the township. It was just the first hearing, so I will continue to monitor those so we can make sure that the services that we need in the township are satisfied and adequate. And I also wanted to thank Mr. Riachi also for the great update. I think he's done a great job as far as the oversight of this fire station project. We've dealt with a lot during this time with the environment nationally as far as supply chains and employees and contractors, and he's done a great job as far as keeping us up to issue and up to speed and doing a great oversight with the contractors and the project managers. So thank you to him, and that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Dondorfer. Yes, I did have a couple calls. There was a lingering issue from last month about somebody requesting street lighting regarding a development that's already gone in. I did talk with Heather in the zoning department. That is an issue that sort of moved on, but talked to the resident about working with the developer and some options they might have as far as residents doing their own lighting. So did field a complaint regarding some trash all on the Greenway Trail on the backside of the fire station, and I'd had talked with Chief about it and got a second complaint, and just know that the township had been talking to construction companies, so work with those guys, and they responded very favorably this week and did a lot of cleanup. In dialoguing with Chief about that, I did find out, he says, well, it's kind of a bad spot, and he says now that we're back there we can see it. So said a lot of trash buried in the underbrush, and some of it's not construction site related, but there was some conversation about maybe putting together a crew and working with the Metro Parks about getting that all cleaned up at some point. So he said some of it's not easy to get to, so we haven't left that issue. We're going to keep working on that, and I told him to give me a call if he's need a little help.
Right.
And did have some questions about zoning matters. But I've been busy working with the LCTA and the commissioners on a couple different fronts. Did spend a time. I did go to both of the budget hearings for the prosecutor and the sheriff's department yesterday. I felt that was important because we are so vested here. I mean, the prosecutor's office, that's our prosecuting attorney that we deal with them, and then the sheriff's department. And also have been spending some time, had a meeting with Auditor Galloway about the local government fund. And for residents that don't know what that is, the state puts out budget or puts out dollars and is distributed into the counties for use at local government. And then every county has its own formulation to distribute that amongst the various communities. And in 1982, Lake County developed a formulation that took effect in 1983, and it has a 5-year window of renewal. And there's some aspects of it that are definitely now in question more than they were, and it has never evolved or changed in the 40 years it's been in place now. And as we know, population and values and things are not as they were, and townships have felt for quite a while that it's not equitable, that money's going to communities that are smaller than us and don't have the population. And we now represent about 30% of the county population, and I can say that's probably not the case. Was not the case in 1983. Right. So the commissioners has expressed some interest in working with us to examine that. So that was very refreshing. And then back to the budget hearings, I heard some very compelling cases out of Prosecutor Colson and out of Sheriff Leon Bruno about the situation. I mean, we know how hard it is to hire in law enforcement, and I know the prosecutors struggling to hire attorneys, and their office is very, very busy. And as a member of the grand jury this quarter, I can attest to that. That office is hopping, and I know they've had to gut their civil division to prosecute the growing number of crimes. So I encourage residents to pay attention. It's an important topic. And again, we had a great meeting with Mr. Riachi. He has done a fantastic job for us, for this township, for this community, overseeing this project. And I think we're going to get through the issues and settle on a nice date here. And I think we owe a lot of the success when that happens to his effort, and we do thank him for that. So that would conclude my report for the evening, and with that, Department Reports, Administrator Rose.
Thank you, Mr. McIntosh, members of the board, Mr. Technip, guests, members of the audience, good evening. A couple things on the agenda I'd like to cover. Item A is Resolution 2023 Tax 04. That allows us to accept NOPEC grants. That resolution is something we do annually, and that allows us to receive NOPEC funding for energy efficient upgrades. Item B, because grass mowing is right around the corner. Item B is a vote to award the mowing and landscape contract to Lake Erie Shores Contracting LLC. As you're aware, we did go out for bid for the landscape contract. Bids were opened at noon on February 3rd, 2023 here at Town Hall. We received just 2 bids. So Lake Erie Shores Contracting LLC submitted a bid for $57,667. And the other bid was TER Services LLC. And their bid was $64,295. So I recommend awarding this contract to Lake Erie Shores Contracting. They had the bid the previous 2 years, and then it was time to renew. The contract had run its course, and now we're moving forward with a new contract. And this new contract will have optional years going forward. Item C is a vote for permission to advertise for, this is for the service department. It's to go out for bids for stone, cement, concrete, and limestone. This is an annual advertisement and bid in order to get all the pricing for all the materials that the service department utilizes throughout the year to do all the various road and ditch maintenance that they need. So I request a favorable vote on that. The only other thing I have is, and Mr. Dondorfer touched on it, I'm continuing to work with the health district, trying to untwist a specific and difficult septic system issue for one of our residents. And then I'm also, along with that, I'm getting some additional information regarding some inspection fees that are related to septic tanks. Played a little phone tag today with Dan Lark over there, but I should have some additional information for you by the end of the week to hopefully put that to bed. And that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to circle back on one thing I did fail to mention that did come up, occupied some of my time, and that was a letter that the Lake County Township Association coactively wrote and sent to Engineer Jim Gills up in the county, based on a policy that went into effect on the 1st of February this year that said the county was not going to repair or replace damaged mailboxes through the course of their snow plowing duties. And it will be covered in print, and it's online in the News Herald. There's been a story about it. So since residents may call the township in question, I would encourage, we did request that they reconsider that policy, and that request was denied. And so we can certainly help, and we'd like to know, but you need to the residents of the township need to call the county engineer's office with those requests. We're not really in a position to help out as much, but I do want to remind residents that the township, for the fee of $50, that's just materials we'll put in the barriers.
Correct. The mailbox barriers.
We can do those on county roads as well.
That's correct.
Which will help from some of the snow damage, which may be not necessarily plow damage. So if that's a concern, that's still something that the township does that might aid in that situation. If you're having problems with the county engineer, we definitely want to know about it. But that ultimate complaint needs to be aired with the county engineer, not with the township. There's not much we can do more than we've already done.
Correct. Thank you.
All right, and then moving on to the audience portion. Don't see any audience this evening, so we'll get into the old business, and we do have an item in the old business, and that is a vote on the January financial report.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I will make a motion to approve the January financial report.
Second.
Any discussion?
No.
Mr. Second, thanks for getting that done.
Thank you. Yes, Jim.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's 3 ayes, and moving into new business.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve Resolution 2023-04, a resolution authorizing all actions necessary to accept Northeast Ohio Public Energy Council Energize Community Grants.
And I will second.
Any discussion?
No.
We've done well with NOPEC has really helped this community a lot. We've gotten a lot of things done at the community center with NOPEC dollars, and we're using NOPEC to do some lighting at the fire station as well.
Yes. Yeah, that grant funding provides, the township's ability to offset costs for more energy efficient products.
Lighting, doors.
Heating, cooling.
Yep.
It's important. I think it's important that residents know that they pay the rates, but those dollars are coming back to Concord. We do get a benefit for that, and sometimes you don't hear about it, but it's important to know that does benefit Concord Township.
It does.
And we also, this week too, we received $2,000 from NOPEC for the concert series.
Yeah,
So
they signed up to sponsor the concert series as well.
Great.
That's separate from this, but
Right.
that's part of their community outreach. But
Yeah.
they've been good partners.
They are.
All right, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 3 ayes.
Mr. Chairman, I will make a motion to approve and award the bid for mowing and landscape maintenance of township properties and cemeteries for 2023 to Lake Erie Shores Contracting LLC in the amount of $57,667.
And I'll second.
Any discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. 3 ayes.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the Service Department permission to advertise for the 2023 stone, cement, concrete, and limestone bids.
I will second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's 3 ayes.
Mr. Chairman, I will make a motion to approve a step increase for Service Department employee David Weber, effective 2/24/23 to $23.27 an hour.
I'll second.
Any conversation? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, 3 ayes. Future meetings and announcements.
Upcoming meetings on February 20th, the Township Hall will be closed in observance of President's Day. On February 27th at 3 p.m., there will be a staff meeting and appropriations workshop at Town Hall. And on March 1st at 6:30 to 7:30 p.m., there will be a trustees' office hours, and that will be held in the conference room at the Town Hall. And at 7:30 p.m., following the trustee office hours, there will be a trustees meeting at Town Hall. Again, that'll be on March 1st.
All right. Any other business? Hearing none, we will conclude the meeting for this evening. Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.